Hi guys, Corey Gerald here with Jennifer Thompson,
Hey all.
and we're back for part two of our first module on preparing your marketing plan. So, after last week, you might be thinking, this is a lot of stuff. How am I supposed to do all this? Well, we're here to break it down for you step by step, week by week, as we move forward through the modules. So, we've been there before. We've dealt with the overwhelming expectations and timelines and deadlines, and that's why we're laying this out for you.
In fact, when you go through this, you should have a better understanding of inbound marketing and how it can actually work for your practice. And at the end of today's webinar, you should be able to discuss inbound marketing like a pro, and you'll know the 4 little known secrets to inbound marketing success. We'll also talk about a few easy ways you can boost your ratings on those pesky physician rating websites like Vitals and Healthgrades. And we'll show you how you can create one piece of content that will last you for years to come.
So, in other words, if you follow along with us today, we're going to put the solutions literally at your fingertips. So, it's like having the answers to the test. And your job is to put pen to paper and execute the strategies laid out for you. And with that, let's go ahead and jump in.
All right, so elements of a successful marketing plan, part one, inbound marketing strategies. So, what is inbound marketing? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Inbound marketing is when a patient finds your office on their own. They do it through search, or they hear about you on social media, or they read about you as a result of one of your public relations
What
efforts.
about outbound marketing? See what I did there? I interrupted. So, that's when you invade the lives of your patients to grow your business. That's print advertising, radio, TV, billboards, direct mail, anything like that.
So, why does inbound marketing matter? Well, it matters because inbound marketing reduces your average cost per lead by over $230 per patient, according to a recent study put out by HubSpot. And inbound marketing, the beauty of it is it'll work with your existing marketing mix, or it'll work all by itself if you don't market at all to create more leads and to generate more appointments for you.
What does inbound marketing include? Well, elements of a successful inbound marketing program include three things. The first is online reputation management, or ORM. The next one is content management system, which is CMS. And that's something like WordPress, where you are actually able to go in and create content very easily. And we recommend that when you guys are getting ready to upgrade your website, which we'll talk about in a later webinar. And the final thing is social media development, or SMD. So aside from lots of crazy acronyms, these are elements, they're essentially tools in your toolbox, and they help you build a successful plan where your practice can live in. So what are they and what do they mean? We're going to get into that in a second. But first, I want to test Jen on her knowledge here. So inbound versus outbound, we've got television and YouTube. Which is which?
Well, Corey, I think that television is outbound and is YouTube inbound.
That is absolutely correct. And the reason for that is when you're watching television and the ads come on, those are intrusive. So essentially, that is outbound. Now, as far as inbound is concerned, YouTube fits there because someone is searching. And when they find your practice, they have essentially reached out to you. So, for your inbound plan to work, it needs what we like to call the 4 C's to success. Now, the first one is content. Now, it's quality content that people care about. That can be blogs or videos. Let's take dermatology as an example. Just off the top of my head, I can come up with a couple of examples of blog posts that you could put on your website. We've got 3 ways to protect your head and neck this summer, little known facts about moles, how to protect your skin without applying sunscreen, and I don't know about you, but those are things that as a patient, I'd be interested in and I would click on and I would search for. So really here, the possibilities are endless and they're pretty easy to come up with. And the benefits are, again, that you show up very well in search and you're positioning your doc as the expert.
All right, so the next C is communication. The thing is, you need to be where your audience is, and you need to be there when they are looking for you. Um, you also need to make sure that you have open lines of communication with them so that they have an opportunity to get to know you and to trust you. If you're on Facebook or Instagram or on Twitter, or let's say you have open blog posts on your content management system when you put out a piece of content, if a potential patient actually communicates with you via any of those particular outlets, it's imperative that you communicate back with them. Why, you might ask? Well, it's important that your potential patient has an opportunity to get to know you because people do business with people they feel as if they know.
And building on content and communication, the next step is consistency. If you do join some of those networks that Jen mentioned, or you do start a patient newsletter, you need to be consistent. If you're going to post daily, then you need to post daily. If you're going to send out a newsletter monthly, then it needs to be every month around the same time. You don't want to start that newsletter or the content management without a plan in place. People get used to it. Even if they don't open it every week, they're used to seeing it, and you'll see a larger return when they're consistent.
All right, and the final C is creativity. And let's be honest, boring's boring. You want to engage? You want to generate interest? Well, then you've got to put your thinking cap on. And we know you wear all kinds of caps, probably 9 caps. You do the accounting, you do the front desk, you manage human resources, you might even clean the toilets, you manage scheduling patients. And on top of that, you've got to put your marketing hat on and you got to come up with a couple of cornerstone ideas. These are the types of ideas that you can build your practice around, that you can build your marketing message and your overall communication around. For example, orthopedic. We have an orthopedic client that we work with on a regular basis, and they're all about getting back to doing what you love. Meaning, you hurt yourself, and we're not going to focus on the hurt. We're going to focus on getting you back to getting out on the tennis court and playing tennis. Every piece of messaging actually revolves around moving it without the pain, being free to do the stuff you love doing. That's the cornerstone. That's what the messaging is built around. So you've got to ask yourself, what's the cornerstone message for your office? Online reputation management. Let's talk about ORM. All right, so online local review sites, the thing is they allow anybody to review your physician, whether they're a patient or they're not a patient. And there are no barriers to entry, and there's very few defenses against those individuals who might use an online reputation site to attack your physician or your office. This would include patients that are disgruntled. Maybe they waited too long. Maybe they weren't happy with the diagnosis. And recently, we've encountered a practice that we've been working with where they've had several disgruntled employees just literally going online to air their dirty laundry. It's unfortunate, but that's what online reputation management is all about. And the fact is, ORM is your first line of defense in protecting and improving your online reputation. All right, so couple of examples, but you know them because they show up on the front page of Google, and I'm sure that you're searching your practice once in a while in your docs. But healthgrades.com has over 100 million people who have offered reviews on Healthgrades. We've got vitals.com, and we've even got RateMDs. And the reason we focus on these top 3 is chances are when you're searching your doctor's name, these are the top 3 that are showing up.
Yeah, and so I want to point out the screenshot here on the right. Now, if you notice, this doctor has a 4-star rating, which is great. That's the highest you can get on Vitals. But then look just to the right of that, and he only has 2 ratings. So this is good and bad for a couple of reasons. What's great is he's got 4 stars. So if you Google him, he'll show up. He's got 4 stars. It's awesome. However, if someone were to leave 1 negative review, that immediately dips. And if you get a couple of negative reviews, well, then the rating kind of goes in the toilet. So on the flip side, though, a few positive reviews will turn that rating right around. It doesn't take much. And we've actually experienced this before. And one of the things, a pro tactic and a tip that we can offer is identifying a couple of patient advocates for your office and giving them a quick phone call or putting together a quick email and asking them to visit a few of these sites, maybe also throw Google in there or Yelp, and asking them to leave a positive 4 or 5-star review, whatever it is, for their physician. And that will do wonders, not only from an SEO standpoint, but it will also improve their ratings across the board on all of these sites.
All right, so take a look at this screen. It's just a screen capture of a local dermatology office. And just below the office is the information. So this is a front page search of Google, and Dr. James Knight. We have no affiliation with Dr. Knight. I'm sure he's a great doctor. You see on this front page of Google, his 4.5-star rating roughly on Healthgrades shows up number 1. And down there we have his yellowpage.com rating. His Yelp rating, which is leaves a little bit to be desired. And his finally his vitals rating is showing up on this page, and then he has a couple of reviews on Google. So here's the thing, there's pros and cons to online reputation management. Well, the pro is if you've got great ratings across the board, even like Corey said, if it's 1 or 2 ratings, you're going to show up on the front page of Google and you're going to look great. Well, the negative to that is if you've got a couple of bad ratings, you're going to show up on the front page of Google and you're going to look like dirt. And remember, online reputation management is your first line of defense. It's the first impression that you're actually making with your patients. So it's critical that you're taking a look at what these websites are saying about you, what patients are saying about you, that you are reviewing them to make sure that your data is accurate. And also that when a negative review comes up, that you're either A, responding, or B, if it's fraudulent, that you're reaching out to that website and you're asking for it to be corrected. All right, so why does it even matter? Well, it matters because 80% of shoppers change their purchase decisions based on negative reviews. Now, let's use this as an example. I do this to my husband all the time. He says, "Hey Jen, what do you want for dinner tonight?" And I say, "Oh, I don't know. I just don't want a local chain." And immediately, the first thing we do is we go to the internet to find a place that we're going to have dinner. And we might search it. And let's say we find something that says 4 stars. It's within 5 miles of our house and it has authentic Mexican. Well, sounds good to me. We're headed over. The same thing applies to looking for a doctor's office. 4 stars, 2 miles from my home, board certified dermatologist. Sounds good to me. I'm going to go there to get my mole checked out. The fact is that if I saw something on the internet negative about that doctor or about that restaurant, chances are I would have changed my purchase decision. More than 92% of buyers regularly check online reviews before making a purchase or service decision. I think we're all there at this point, especially with the age of internet communication. 84% of marketers agree that building consumer trust will become marketing's primary objective in the near future. I think we're all there. It goes back to the conversation about social media management. If somebody's responding to a post, it is imperative that you respond. And why is it imperative? Because you've got to build that trust if you're going to bring in that new patient. So how important is Google? Well, we hear about Google all the time, and it's very important. That's because more than an average of 170 million unique visitors head to Google each month. More than 74%, that's 3/4 of all searches are for small businesses. That's you guys. And here's the part that I really want to drive home. Searching for healthcare information is the 3rd most common activity on the internet. So think about it. 3/4 of all of those 175 million searches are for small businesses. Healthcare is the 3rd most relevant search on Google. All right, so Yelp. Well, you might have heard of Yelp. Hopefully by now you've experienced Yelp to some degree. The thing about Yelp is it's the place where the consumer has all the power. In fact, Yelp has been called the most important site for small businesses next to Google. And research shows that a customer whose review praises customer service is more than 5 times as likely to give a 5-star review than a 1-star review. And every star in a rating leads to a potential 5 to 9% jump in overall revenue.
So let's move on and talk about content management. Now, content management is more than just social media. It also includes your blogs that are on your website and any videos if you have them. And I'd also say that you can lump your patient portal in there as well as your new patient paperwork. And if it's not easy to find and fill out, then you're doing something wrong and you're going to wind up with some frustrated patients and they're going to go back to those online rating sites and leave a not so stellar review. Odds are you're probably going to have some disgruntled patients no matter what you do, but that is a topic for another webinar. So content management includes custom content development, that's things like blogs on your website, social media management, that's managing your social media accounts, obviously your Facebook and your Twitter, those kinds of things. Local search monitoring and updating, that's what Jen was talking about a few minutes ago with Yelp and Google and those things. And also video, if you have any. Now, the thing with video, I want to touch on that real quick, is that a lot of people think that video it's too hard, it's too complex, I just can't do it. And the fact of the matter is that it's actually not that hard. All you really need is a tripod and a camera, and we have a couple of pro tips that we're going to give you in a future webinar, but it is very easy to do, and you'll actually be quite surprised at the amount of time that it actually eats out of your day. It's not very much at all. So, consistent content development is crucial to increase search ranking and building loyalty with your patients. And by creating this content, you're also positioning your doctors as an expert in the field. And I want to talk real quick about choosing social networks. Now, it's important, there's a lot of networks out there, but what you have to do is decide where you need to be and where you want to live, essentially. You have to pick a community, and you don't just want to visit on the weekends, you want to own that space. And that's all about time management. We all know that there's a lot of things that take up time in our day, and it's about figuring out where you can put your efforts that will have the most payoff. Now, again, we're going to talk about that in a future webinar, but I just want to make everyone aware that it's something that you need to consider. So, which social media platform do you use to promote your office? Odds are, if you take a look at the list here, you're on one of those, or maybe all of those, or maybe just a couple. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where you have to pick a couple of networks and divide your time and use it wisely, because honestly, there's no need to be on all of those networks, especially if you're a smaller practice. So it's all about figuring out what works for you and where your patients are.
All right, so 70% of consumers actually prefer getting to know a company via articles or videos or some piece of content rather than advertising themselves. In fact, a recent study put out by HubSpot, or a recent report off of a study by HubSpot, and HubSpot's like the experts out there, one of them in content management. The study said that companies that blog, and when I mean blog, I mean put out regular content. So you're posting a video to your website, or a testimonial, or a quick down and dirty article with 3 tips to preventing skin cancer. But companies that blog have a 434% more indexed pages. In fact, search engines use these index pages to help determine search ranking. So essentially, the more pages, the higher the ranking. The higher the ranking, the more leads that you're going to see. All right, let's talk about content management in the realm of social media. There's something to be said about creating a strong, structured social media plan and how it's been shown to have numerous benefits. In fact, over 3/4 of all marketers have found that increased web traffic occurred with just 6 hours a week invested in social media. And what I mean by strong, structured social media plan is to put together an editorial calendar. Know what you're going to say before you say it. And if you don't have to worry about that right now. If you check back a little bit later after this webinar, check the show notes. We'll have a template of a strong, structured social media plan that you can plug in your own content and see exactly what we're talking about. So 61% of marketers actually see a benefit to using social media when it comes to lead generation. And 85% of marketers indicated that social media has generated more exposure to their business. In fact, when you're in Facebook, they have some great insights. That's actually what they call them, where they'll show you exactly how many people saw your post, the total reach that your post had. You remember back in the days, you'd buy an advertisement in print, and they would say, well, you have the potential to reach X amount of people. Well, when it comes to social media, you can actually see exactly how many people that you've reached. And you can see here, there's so many benefits to using social media, from increased exposure and website traffic all the way to reducing marketing expenses and improving your search ranking. Corey's told me that at this point, I should suggest that you hit pause on this webinar and take a look at it for yourself so that you can understand what these benefits actually are.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about inbound marketing and how it relates to local searches. As we mentioned earlier, more than 74% of searches are for local content and small businesses. And patients can't find your information if it isn't up to date and confirmed. And so, how to do that is literally going to each one of those websites, creating an account, proving that you are the business owner or you're representing the business owner, and taking the account and updating the content. And to do that, it's anything from names and phone numbers. We suggest adding a couple of photos, maybe your updated URL to the website if it's not there, things like that, that when patients actually go to those websites, they'll be able to easily find out who you are, and visit the website and learn more, hopefully schedule an appointment at that point. So let's take a look at YouTube. So 76% of marketers plan on increasing their YouTube or their video marketing this year. And what that means essentially is if you aren't making videos, then odds are your competitors, they're doing it. So YouTube is the third most visited site on the web behind Google and Facebook. And there are more than 800 million unique users on YouTube each month. And I'd venture to say that that number is probably actually a little bit higher. And real quick, just talking about videos, one thing that we've seen with one of our clients, they've actually created a physician went in, created his own video. It's on the Tommy John surgery. And Tommy John he was a baseball player, and he had a particular type of elbow surgery that had never been done before. So this physician created a video and put it together himself. It took him about 2 hours or so. And as of the time of this recording, it's got about 150,000 views on YouTube. And when you actually search Tommy John surgery, his is the first one that comes up. And he's actually told us that he has scheduled patients from this. He has scheduled surgeries, and just about every week or so, someone's actually calling to talk to him about this. So you can see that actually putting in the time and creating one of these videos might seem like a lot of work, but the payoff is tremendous. All right, so let's talk about the lifespan of your content. And really what I want to touch on here and I want to drive home is that you do not have to reinvent the wheel every single time. So this is an example of how content can be a lot of things. Let's use that video of the physician that I was just talking about with the surgery. So he creates a YouTube video. Well, then we can turn that video into an article or a blog post on the website. So now we've got two pieces of content right there. So these actually create two separate posts on the website. And then we also promote them through social media channels. We say that we've got a video, and then a few weeks later, we'll say, hey, check out this article. So then there's two more pieces. And at the end of the day, what this does is it increases our Google listings and the rankings for the practice and the physician himself.
All right, so we know this is a lot to take in, but let me try to give you a real quick review. And we'll go over more specifics as we get into later modules with the 9-part course. So quick review. Successful inbound marketing program includes 3 main factors. The first is online reputation management. This is these physician rating websites and really just any website out there and what people are saying about you or your doctor or your practice. You want to be vigilant, make sure the information is correct, and do whatever you can to push anything negative down. And you're going to push that negative down by implementing a content management system. What we mean by this is you're going to put a lot of quality content out there. You're going to try to control the message. When you do that and Google picks it up, they take your messaging, maybe put it above those nasty reviews that you might or might not get, push them to the second page and you on the front page. And remember what Corey said earlier, when you're looking at investing in upgrading your website, you want to make sure you're building your new website within a CMS. Something like WordPress is built in CMS. It'll just make this inbound marketing program much easier for you in the long run. And then finally, social media development. Social media development is critical to actually getting your message out there. You want to create an audience, and once you've got your audience, you want to tell them what you want to tell them, build that trust with them so that when it comes time to scheduling their next appointment, they're going to pick up the phone and they're going to schedule it with you. So let me say this. Thanks for listening and thanks for following along today. And if you're in another window right now, thanks for pseudo paying attention. Either way, we really do hope that you learned something. Next up, we've got the elements of a successful marketing plan, part 2, outbound marketing strategies.
Hey guys, thanks again for hanging out with us, and we hope you learned a little something and you were able to breathe a little easier now. So as always, check back to drmarketingtips.com. That's drmarketingtips.com for more news and tips to help make your marketing world a little easier, a little less time consuming, and hopefully a lot less stressful. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.